Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you are new here, I am a wife to 1, mom to 7, and we live on a suburban homestead in Central Virginia. We homeschool our kids and we love to share our adventures with all of you here on YouTube. We would love to have you stick around and hit that subscribe button. I have a little helper over here on the floor, so if you hear something, mom life. Today I'm sharing with you all the curriculum plans for my rising 8th grader. He is my going on 13-year-old son, and he is what they call twice exceptional. He has high functioning autism spectrum disorder and profound sensory processing disorder, but he also cognitively tests as brilliant. So it is a very unique challenge to both challenge him enough, but also understand that there are accommodations that need to be made. In general, all of his work is on grade level and some of it is ahead. For math this year, my son is going to doing Teaching Textbooks Algebra 1. If you saw my recent video reviewing teaching textbooks after doing it for a year this past year with one of my other children, you know I have been incredibly impressed with their program, their methodology, as well as the resources that they have available for families. So my son will be switching to teaching textbooks, and since he completed a pre-algebra course from Abeka this past year, we are moving ahead to Algebra 1 for him, even though he's only in 8th grade. For language this year, we are taking a bit of a departure from our norm where we've kind of always done a traditional language arts program, and I'm sort of piecing things together for him based on his strength. I really believe in setting my kids up for success, and he very much has a working knowledge of proper grammar and language usage. And I really worry about sort of losing him to the tedium of diagramming and things like that. Diagramming and parts of speech and things like that. So instead we're taking a little different approach with him. My son has a very creative mind and is an incredibly bright writer. So we are going to do From the Good and the Beautiful, the creative writing notebook. This still works on things like the parts of speech and language usage, but a different approach. It gives writing prompts on things like the senses and being more descriptive instead of using very. It encourages them to really fill out the characters in their story by doing actual character sketches and bringing those people to life in their minds so they then can put them on the page with what they've already learned. And then it helps work through building out paragraph organization and plots, themes, different things like that. In addition to that creative writing work, we are also doing the level 8 book study from The Good and the Beautiful. This includes these 3 little notebooks as well as the books themselves, but covering Wild Like Foxes by Anata, The Touch of Magic by Lorena Hickok, and The Story of My Life by Helen Keller, as well as Abraham Lincoln by Wilbur Fisk Gordy. So we'll be doing an in-depth study on each of those books in addition to his creative writing work. In addition to those parts of language arts, he'll also be doing Wordly Wise Level 8. We've really enjoyed using this spelling and vocabulary curriculum the last couple of years. And since the pieces that I'm already using for his language arts don't include spelling and vocabulary, I'm plugging this in. He will also be completing The Good and the Beautiful Level 3 Typing, which is the last book in their series. And for history, my son is going to continue to work through Story of the World as a group subject with myself and the rest of my elementary and middle school age kids. He also does a lot of additional reading on his own into things that interest him historically, and I am more than happy to let his interest guide him in those areas to supplement what may be a little beneath his level for Story of the World. For health and wellness, my son will be doing Health in a Christian Perspective by Abeka. It's a basic, wholesome teenage health curriculum that talks about proper exercise and making good choices socially, like avoiding things like drugs and alcohol, and talking about the impact those types of things have on your body and why they are so damaging, and empowers teens to make an informed decision instead of just, I have to say no because my mom said I should say no. For my son especially, giving him that information so things make sense in those decisions really, really helps. For science this year, my son is actually going to be teaming up with his big sister and doing biology by Apologia. I bought one big book because odds are they're never going to need to be doing their text reading at the same time. And I got them each their own student notebook. My son is incredibly intelligent in this area and is very, very interested in basically everything about the living world and the animal kingdom. So we are going to encourage it by rolling with what may be considered a science course way beyond his level, because I know he can handle it and I know it will really interest him. Yeah. For music, my son has kind of gone away from what we were doing as far as a self-paced piano course, and he has really enjoyed listening to soundtracks from old video games that are orchestral compilations of things like Final Fantasy VII and things like that, which has been really, really fun because my husband is very much interested in these things. So it's listening to those, and my husband's been helping him hear the different parts, hear the pieces, hear the rhythms, and bring those things out. And it's really been something that's connected them as well as taught my son a lot, and he's begun playing a lot of things by ear on the piano and having a lot of fun with things that way. So I'm just kind of letting it roll and letting his interests guide him that way. For art, we will be continuing on in our Fun Friday tradition, where we do core schoolwork 4 days a week, and then on Fridays, taking that day to do our field trips, projects, fun things, as well as our art projects that are all sorts of hands-on things, all sorts of different mediums like watercolors, acrylic, drawing, handiwork like working with felts, hand stitching, all sorts of things. I'm still on the fence whether or not we're going to do a foreign language with him this year. He really, really, really wants to learn Japanese like the creators of his favorite video games speak. I'm still working on finding a good curriculum program for that. So if you have any ideas, put them in the comment section below. And those are the curriculum plans for my rising 8th grader this year. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. If you would like to see a flip through of anything in particular, let me know and I'm happy to do that as well. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. As always, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share it if you think anyone might find it useful, and subscribe to hang out for more. We'll see you again soon.